Okie dokie. Now let's get everyone access. Admitting all. Wow. All joining on spots. Okay, we're getting more people. Wow, I'm impressed, frankly, with all these who have joined. Just make sure, guys, that no one is using. I can choose something called immersive view. That's quite impressive. I'm not going to use that. They're definitely going to consume the internet. They're going to consume everything. Okay, the speaker. Okay, okie dokie. Yep, now I can see you, can see me. I hope that you, of course, you're in the middle now, as I can see in my screen. And more people are joining. Hello, everyone. Please make sure that you keep yourself muted because there are only 2 speakers today and 1 main guest speaker today, who is Taz Rajabali, who will be joining us today to tell us more about some facts and truth about the recruitment and recruiters and what's wrong with recruiters, what's wrong with us, what's wrong with job seekers. There are definitely some hidden agenda going around that will stop job seekers to get a job, right? And recruiters to help job seekers. What's going on here? And this is why we're having today Taz Rajabali, a leading recruiter and HR expert, who's gonna share with us and tell us the truth about the market, what is going wrong, and most importantly, answer your questions. This session today is for you. You ask, Rajabali will answer, and I will support him in case he says something wrong. Would definitely not be a story here. You're gonna correct things. He's gonna correct stuff, and that's why we're having Taz. How are you, Taz, my friend?
I'm amazing, Haytham, and hi everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're dialing in from.
All right, guys, tell me where you're in the chat box. Everyone, I want to see more interaction from your side. Let's go to the chat and tell me, where are you watching us from? Everyone, go to the chat and tell me where you're contacting from. UAE, okay, Pakistan, wonderful. We see some results, by the way. That was quite fast. This is why I love Zoom, frankly, more than restream. When I go that live streaming, I can wait for 10 seconds to get the result, to get an answer, and life was so devastating, so disappointing. Okay, we have India, we have Dubai. Whoa, the majority from Dubai. That's quite. I love this. I love this when the majority are from Dubai. This is our region, man. Everyone's here around. Cool, guys, keep going. Keep going. I want to see answer. I want to see people replying back. By the way, if you don't participate, I'll kick you out. Okay, whoever here, if you don't participate, I'll kick you out. I want to make sure that everyone's attending. Okay, this is for you. We made this for you just to understand exactly how the market works. And by the way, we need your questions. I know that you have plenty of questions to ask recruiters and to ask about the job market and everything. So, yep. I am ex-Dubai as well. See, so Sandeep here has an opinion. He has an ex-Dubai. That's cool. I love that. I love the fact that people coming from Dubai. India, Abu Dhabi. We have Rajman, Mahfouz. Yes, Mahfouz, my friend. He's a cool guy, by the way. He got a job recently. I'm so happy for him.
Congratulations.
Yes. People are getting jobs. I think that the market is moving now. It's moving, it's progressing. People are getting better chances in the market. So I'm so happy in the fact that, yes, it's some refreshing a little bit for everyone, the companies, job seekers. So, yep, we have Sharjah, we have people looking for Dubai, looking for a job. Okay, Rajesh, that's cool. I want to ask first question before everyone asks their questions, because guys, this is the chance to ask questions about what's wrong in the market in terms of recruiters, and actually what's wrong in you, the job seeker, and me in the past. Okay, we want to understand this. So I would love to go first with the first question to Taz, all right, where he will tell us a little bit about why recruiters don't reply. And then from there, I will definitely sure that you guys come up with a lot of questions. I want to hear these questions in the chat box so that we will start answering them immediately. So Taz, please tell me, I would love to know, what's happening in the market? Why recruiters not being so responsive? Why they're not replying? Please tell me a little bit about this fact.
So first of all, Haytham, thanks a lot for the question, and everybody on the call. Hello, good evening. I think most people are from this region, so I think good evening covers everybody. I saw there was somebody, Kate from Dubai Marina. Hello, Kate. I'm also in Dubai Marina, so we may be neighbors or something. Who knows? You could be dialing in from next door. So first of all, Haytham, thank you for organizing this session, and I'm really happy to be here and really happy to have the opportunity to share with everybody here some of my experience, some of my understanding of what's going on, but really to present sort of my opinion and open up a debate and a discussion. So I am not the know everything expert of every single subject, but I've certainly been doing this for a long, long time, and I've got some insights into what goes on. The other thing I would say is that I'm not on anyone's side, okay? Like, I'm not here just to defend recruiters. I'm not here to bash recruiters either. What I'm here to do is to share the way in which the industry works, and then hopefully by understanding the way the industry works, we can talk about how best to work within that system so that we can get, jobs if we're looking for jobs, or we can understand why recruiters don't reply if that's what's preventing us, or all of those things, okay? Feel free, please, to ask any question you want regarding the world of hiring. We have three questions here which we're focusing on, but if there's something else which is interesting to you or bothering you about the world of hiring, we have enough time left over, please feel free to use that time as you wish. So, introduction done. I hope that was okay. What's wrong with recruiters? Well, here's first of all, I think the statement that most people will disagree with, and I'll tell you very honestly, nothing is wrong with recruiters, right? They are, like all of us, people, human beings. There are some good ones, there are some bad ones, there are some fun ones, there are some boring ones, there are some effective ones, there are some less effective ones. They're just people. Okay. However, they are working in a system which is very, very broken, and therefore it's natural, especially when we're looking for jobs, when we're being ghosted, when we haven't had response to our applications. It's normal to think, oh well, the recruiter on the other side, there must be something wrong with him or her. But I promise you that most of the time, at least in the 30 years that I've been training recruiters, I find them to be diligent, hardworking, resilient to a lot of stress and pressure that they get in their jobs, doing their best, trying to be empathetic to everybody who is in these terrible situations of trying to look for work, managing extreme workloads, keeping a lot of stakeholders happy, pretty much what we all do in our lives, right? Recruiters do the same sort of thing. So the short answer to your question is there's nothing wrong with recruiters, nothing at all. They're generally a great bunch of people, like we all hopefully are. They're working in a very broken system. And I think the more we understand about that system, and I know you and I, Haytham, are certainly very focused on making sure we can do our bit fixing that system, the better the overall ecosystem will become.
Yep, it's obviously has to do with the whole system, Frank. That whatever people think, like they look at it maybe from the personal perspective about, yeah, I applied to these jobs, but no one replying back to me. So there's something wrong with that person, something wrong with this person, this recruiter, or this guy who's supposed to be responsible of all the application. But have you thought of what is guy actually happening with him? Do you think you are the only person who's contacting that person? Then we start asking, so why this is happening? And again, as you said, Taz, we discovered that their system, the whole system of recruitment is wrong. The whole way these things are working are wrong in the first place, right? So in this case, what do you recommend, Taz? What do you recommend these people to do? Do you have to accept the fact that this is a situation, or do you believe there are other ways to get things done?
So here's the thing, I think. We can say that the system is broken, right? But here's another point of view on this one. The system is what we define it to be, right? We create the system. So if we create a broken system, it becomes inefficient, ineffective, right? So my position is, why don't we create a better system? I mean, it's in our capability. We created the last one, which we're now saying is broken. So why don't we just create a better one? So it's absolutely within the professionals who work in the hiring industry, within their capability and responsibility, I would argue, to create or improve the system as it stands today, and not just accept the way it is and say, well, that's the system, my hands are tied, I can't do anything. That's not the case, right? But similarly, the way in which job seekers interact with the system can also be bettered, be improved. It's not simply a case of, well, if HR and the recruiters all change the system, then everything will be fine. If collectively all of the stakeholders that interact with this hiring system make improvements, we will multiply and accelerate the improvement, the betterment of that system. Right? Let me give you an example. I used to work in an organization where when we posted a job vacancy, approximately 85 to 90% of the applicants for that job vacancy were not qualified. Right?
Right.
Now, we could say that we should hire on potential and we should hire on the ability and the aptitude to do the job and not the skills. But let me ask you something. If you went to a hospital for surgery, would you prefer that a highly skilled surgeon operates you, or like an ex-bus driver who has ambition to be a surgeon?
No, definitely, I'm going with the expert.
So there are times where we need the skills, right? When 85 to 90% of the applications for a job do not have the skills that are needed for the job, this is an area where job seekers can make an improvement, right? Don't apply for jobs that you're not qualified for.
Right.
Similarly, now you can flip that situation and say, from the recruiter's point of view, you post one job and you receive 90% of resumes which are incorrect or irrelevant for that job.
Right.
Imagine if you then had to go back and reply to every single one of them and say, I'm sorry, but you're not relevant for the job, and typically people want to say why.
Yeah.
And that's just one job. Recruiters will typically be managing 20 to 30 jobs at any one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
90% of irrelevant resumes is a large portion of your work, which can become administrative if you go into just replying to everyone. Whereas instead, we should focus recruiters on adding value and job seekers on ensuring that they apply for the roles where they've got the greatest chance of success. And that way, both parties work to improve the system.
Yeah, yeah. Actually,
just one example.
I love this. I love the fact, like, rather than looking at the problem as the recruiters, look at yourself first. Are you doing it the right way? At least start it this way. This job is requesting these qualifications. Are you meeting, like, for me, this is my perspective, correct me if I'm wrong, Taz. I believe like you're able at least to meet 60% of these requirements. Take it further from there. But seriously, if they are looking for a VA, a virtual assistant, and I receive a civil engineer CV, I mean, seriously, for God's sake, like, you're wasting my time, you wasted your time, and now you're expecting me to reply back to you. Why you caused this in the first place? Is what I think. Why you put yourself in a situation where I'm not qualified, but please hire me. Now, I understand one thing. We reach some sort of measures, like desperate measures, like, because I had a goal. I'm trying to apply that goal, but that goal is not working. All right, so I start taking any opportunity. Again, you're making it worse. This is what I believe. You're making your situation even worse. Rather than keep focusing, understanding how can I really get that job in civil engineering? What qualifications I need to be working in that position? Speak directly to hiring managers, reaching out to them, understand what these guys really want. Rather than speaking to recruiters like, hey, hi, what are the job qualifications? Or like, what do you want for this role? Why are you speaking to the recruiter? Recruiter has a job to just pass your CV to the right person, to just qualify you based on what the hiring manager requested. Why don't you sit down with hiring managers? Just have this what's called, I think the concept is not new now, informational interviews. Just try to reach out to these people, ask them questions. Like, I just want to ask a question. Like, what do you love to see in someone who would love to work with your team? What kind of qualifications that a civil engineer need to at least start a career? Speaking to experts will help you understand your position as a civil engineer. Then you start reaching out to these companies and reaching out recruiters. But don't expect recruiters to do everything for you, to teach you and so forth. What do you say about this, Taz?
Yeah, it's complicated, Haytham, because there are some very capable recruiters out there who are truly experts in what they do, right?
Yeah,
They are your access to the organization. Their job is to be your access point to the organization, and they have all of the knowledge and capability that you need in order to apply to the job. Everything that you want to know about work there, what do you need to be able to deliver, what's the cultural fit, what are the teams like. There are great recruiters who know all of these things. Similarly, there are hiring managers who, you can imagine if we said to every applicant, everybody interested in working, talk to the hiring manager directly. I mean, I feel sorry for the hiring manager because their inbox is going to be full, right? And so recruitment functions, when they work properly, they have a very valuable role to play in an organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are many examples, and I'm sure, and I hope to hear from everybody here, but I'm sure that many people here will have had poor experiences with recruitment functions, right? And so it's easy to then say, well, let's just bypass them and go and speak to the hiring manager. A lot of hiring managers will just send you back to recruitment, right? That's how it is, especially in the larger organizations, multinationals, they have a very defined process. And hiring managers are, asked not to consider applicants directly, but instead to redirect them through the recruitment process, because that is the first stage of filtering. So, the answer is not necessarily, well, we're working in this broken system, therefore bypass recruitment because that's the problem, right? Mm-hmm. It's not that's not necessarily the answer in my opinion.
Right.
I would work with the organizations to make sure the recruitment function is the correct filter for the job, and work with the recruiters to make sure they're putting the practices in place to ensure they are attracting the right quality and volume of candidates. And I would work with the job seekers to make sure that they are applying for the relevant jobs in the right way. I don't think it's a dangerous thing to start saying, let's take one tactic and apply it broadly to all organizations, because you're going to again find yourself frustrated with the responses, or even lack of, that you get from hiring managers. A lot of them won't respond to you because they've got jobs to do.
It would absolutely be messy, actually, if we try to directly each time speak to the hiring manager, hey, I would love to work with you. Right. Yeah. That's why I don't 100% advise doing that, except you are quite confident, like as a salesperson, for example, you're quite confident that you have a solution for this guy and you want him to listen to you. Actually, the fact that you approached him, you called him at some point, he might see that, wow, this guy has an advantage of selling himself. If he can sell himself, he can sell his product as well. Yeah. So it might work in this case. I remember I tried to reach out to hiring managers directly for a job, and they reprimanded me, like, sorry, there's a process, please follow that one. While in fact, in other cases, I had seen managers that they were so happy that I approached them directly. They appreciated that. In fact, I took this extra limit. But that depends on, if you are, this is what my advice, don't apply always, every time. Don't network for the sake of getting a job. Don't network for this thing. If you're approaching people for the fact that you're looking for a job, stop it right away. This is my opinion. If you want to network as a human being, building trust, try to listen, try to communicate. It's nothing wrong when you communicate with a possible hiring manager. This is a human being after all. You are communicating with them for the sake of learning, for the sake of sharing thoughts, for the sake of understanding what they're going through, understanding the market. No one would say no to this. Later, if there's an opening, you can propose a solution for this person. I mean, like, what's worse than, this is something like concept I have in my program, which is the value-added proposition or value-added proposal, which is after you have this networking session with these people, okay, and understanding by the end of the session what challenges they're going through as a team leader, who have what challenges like your team are struggling with, for example, okay. If you build enough trust with this person, they will share with you what kind of challenges they have. Try to find a solution. Try to find a solution, propose a solution for this guy. Just as a proposal, here we go. I would love to, I heard your story that day. I was thinking about a solution for you. And here's like some set of slides or like 3 slides on my proposed solution to you. I hope it might help you. Don't expect much from them. Just add, just give, just add value to these people. If they consider you as an added value, they will definitely come back to you, whether there's a position or not. This is my opinion, but for the sake of reaching out to us, hey, I'm looking for a job, or hey, I want to apply in your organization. No, we have recruiters for a reason. We have portals for a reason. We have a system for a reason. This is my opinion, and this is what I think. Do you think this would be like a smart approach, Taz?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really valuable what you're saying here. And there's one thing I'd add to it. You know, when you do approach organizations and look for a job, you said it. I'm going to paraphrase, so I'm going to steal a little bit of what you said.
Go ahead, man.
A little bit more. Try and think about the value that you're offering them, not the value that you're offering them, not the skills that you're offering them.
Yes.
Right? So recruiters get a lot of resumes saying, "Hi, I'm so and so. These are my skills. Can you find me a job?" Right? That approach doesn't work.
Yep.
Because unless you contact the recruiter, and now we're talking about, by the way, there's different types of recruiters, right? There are recruiters who work directly with the organization, the in-house teams. Yeah. And then there are recruiters who work for agencies. Yeah. Okay? They are very different beasts, very different animals. And when we're talking, until now, we've really been talking about the in-house teams. Right. We can talk about agency recruiters afterwards as well, but right now we're focusing on the in-house team. So when you contact these guys, try and understand the value that you're offering the organization. Right? So your skills are what you have; they're your toolbox, right? Mm-hmm. If somebody came and just dropped a toolbox on your desk and nothing was broken, even if you might like the tools, you've got no use for them.
I like this.
Right? I'm making it up completely. I'm glad it's kind of coming. All right, so we're back with the toolbox analogy. We're going to go with this one. So, okay, so somebody comes and gives you a toolbox or a hammer and you don't have a nail, right? What value is the hammer? None at all. Nothing. However, if you find somebody who's got a lot of nails and no hammer, when you come and drop your hammer, suddenly now your proposition is completely different.
I love that.
Right? So when you approach organizations, try and explain to them whatever means of communicating you're using to speak to them. Try and explain the value that you're going to provide them. Not, can you give me a job? Because that's the value they will provide you. But instead, you know, these are my skills and this is how you can use them to generate value for your organization. Mm. And if you approach the conversation from a value perspective, you will be far more noticeable, far more unique, far more recognized, far more, stand out than most approaches that people make, which is, these are my skills, can you give me a job?
They will start listening to you. They will start listening to you. This is the point. Rather than ranting about, oh, I have all this, I have PHP, I have SQL, I have Oracle database, blah, 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 blah. Just like telling
so
them,
what?
Yeah, so what? Like, what is in it
what
for
me?
What is in
what
it for me?
Do with it? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you try to be able to identify that this guy has these nails, I've been bothering him. He's trying to hammer these nails, and I put the hammer on the table. They'll be, oh, so how can you help? They see the value, they start listening. So what are you gonna do now? They see this. Out of all that toolbox, you just pick that out, put it on the table. Oh, so what are you gonna do? How are we gonna do this? Let me show you. Tuck, tuck, tuck. This is the strategy, this is the plan, this is whatever. In a frame of like time frame of next an hour, you can get all these nails on. Okay, you will improve your activity, you'll improve this, and you'll help you get this done. Would you be interested to tell you how we can make this work later?
I want to be clear, Haytham, that we're not suggesting to anybody that they take a hammer to an interview, right? I just want to be completely clear about that here. This is just an analogy metaphor for it. Okay.
I love that, man. I really love this conversation. That's quite cool. I have a question, by the way. We start getting questions here. So Muhammad Omar, he
Yeah,
said,
we've got some great ones. Yeah.
right. Hello, Haytham and Taz. Thank you for hosting this session. Thank you very much, Muhammad. Take us through the mysterious world of recruiting. There is a widely spread perception that many of the advertised job opportunities have already a pre-selected candidate and just being posted to meet a certain criteria of posting. How common is this? We're talking about the hidden job market here, I guess, right, Taz?
Yeah, so interesting question. And hi, Mohammed, thank you for the question. I hope everybody finds that one interesting. So what Mohammed's asking here is, there is a widely spread perception, so interesting, first of all, perception, that many advertised job opportunities already have a pre-selected candidate and are being posted, the job opportunities being posted to meet a certain criteria of posting. How common is this? So great question, Mohammed. In my experience, and this is, I can only speak from, my experience and my discussions with my peers, I have never created, nor have I ever been given a job posting criteria. Right? So there's never been a requirement on me or from me to create postings for the sake of creating postings. And I don't know, beyond generating a database of candidates, I don't know why any organization would create a job posting. So the short answer to the posting part is, in my experience, Mohammed, not very common. Now, there's a second question in there, which is that often it feels like you apply for a job, but there's already a pre-selected candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that what happens behind the scenes, especially in larger organizations, is yes, there is often, and very often these are internal candidates, right? So yes, there is often an internal candidate who is being processed through the recruitment process, right? They're doing a number of interviews, there are internal discussions, there are compensation comparisons. These things don't take 1 or 2 days. They normally happen over a week or 2 weeks. Now, many organizations will entertain the internal applicant and at the same time make the job available to the external market, but the internal candidate will remain the preferred one for obvious reasons. If that internal candidate is not successful in his or her application, then the external candidates are considered, but they are now lagging in the process a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. But you're absolutely right. Very often in larger organizations, and there is a real push, and there has been for many years. This is not a new a concept or a new trend. For many, many years, organizations do prefer to develop their talent internally. When there are opportunities, they do look internally. Recruitment teams look internally to see if that new role will be something that an existing employee may enjoy as a new assignment, as a promotion, as a stretch goal, whatever it is. So, yeah, often it's reality, I'm afraid. There are preferred internal candidates. Where there aren't, it's normally an open market. And why people post jobs to meet a criteria, Mohammed? I'm sorry, I really haven't heard of that.
But Taz, could be like these internal candidates also like referred candidates, referred internally? Yeah, this could be like...
Of course, there are also, yeah.
Do you think this will be given a priority at some point? Like someone would check out their CV. Let's say that I'm working for X company, okay? And I see a job posting and the company would tell me like, hey, Haytham, which is I've seen this common between multinational companies, like, hey, if you know someone who would be the right fit for this job, you can refer him and you can get a compensation out of it, and hefty compensation, trust me. I've seen that personally in companies I work with. I've seen that in different companies as well. So is it a way like we are proving what Omar is saying, Muhammad Omar is saying here, that yes, companies would definitely do prefer, even if you're not directly working there. But if you were referred internally or referred by someone working there, maybe it could be like a network, like, you know, if you can go to some companies, by the way. I'm just mentioning a company like, for example, Canon, and you can find many people have been working before with Xerox or been working before with HP and Konica Minolta, either partners or competitors, and you'll find out that they were pulling each other. Someone was recommending each other, someone here, someone here. So, and it's kind of funny, right? Because now we see people being selected because they were referred. Trust me, I've been in a company where, like, maybe everyone, I asked them, like, I'm for this company. They're all from the same company. They're all from the same company, right? And if you go to that company, you will see something similar. So apparently there's a referral system that works quite well. Okay, maybe not quite common in some companies, but in the Middle East, maybe that's quite big thing. What do you say about this? Is it something like, is it exactly what you're trying to say here?
So the referral channel is one of the most valuable and important tools in a recruiter's toolkit, right?
Right.
If you think about when a recruiter gets a role to work on, they have many channels by which they can fill this job. They can look at the internal population. They can post the job and open it to, you know, the broader world. But one of the most important ones is the referral channel. And every recruiter worth their salt will activate this channel. Again, this is not a new thing, and it's not Middle East. This is worldwide. Why is it? And by the way, there is data to support that referred candidates perform more strongly on the job. Internal candidates, referred candidates perform more strongly. Why is that? Because they are being referred by an individual, typically in the organization, who already knows what it's like to work there.
Right.
So they'll think, oh, actually, I've got a friend, colleague, whatever it is, an ex-colleague or somebody I know who also would work really well in this organization. They would fit within the teams. They've got the skills. They've got the right personality, culture, whatever you want to call it. So that is already a level of screening. And it's first-hand experience by somebody who knows what it's like to work in the organization.
Yeah.
So when a recruiter goes to, you know, one of the questions they should always ask the hiring manager when they're taking a briefing of the role is, who do you know? Who do you know that can do this job?
Yeah.
Because the hiring manager knows the job and knows the company. And if they know someone, very often they do because it's their network.
Yeah.
Right? It's a brilliant channel. Now, if you are not connected to that organization or that hiring manager, could this appear unfair? Yeah, I mean, you know, it's, you know, you may feel like, I can't get into this company, you know, they either hire internally or just refer people, and there's no chance for the rest of us. You know, unfortunately, that is a bit of the reality, you know, is that there are preferences of candidates, and we're not just because, you know, there is evidence to show that these candidates perform better in organizations.
Absolutely.
That being said, you know, I think the best organizations, in my experience, if you look at the internal channel and the referred channel, at best, I think it accounts for something like 40% of all hiring. That means 60% of hiring happens from the external marketplace. So if you do find that you come across a situation where there was a preferred candidate, don't give up hope. You know, 6 times out of 10, organization, and this is best case scenario that I've seen, by the way, 40%. 60% of the time or higher, organizations hire from the external market.
I see. True. Good. That's right. I see Fuad here mentioning something, but I want you, Fuad, to be more specific. He's saying that from his experience in the Middle East, the recruitment process is very biased. Could you please, Fuad, be a little bit specific in this question? What do you mean biased in terms of what? Nationality? Are we talking about this? Or biased towards something specific? Please contribute further to this question so that we can answer it, okay? I want to go to Vijay. He's a friend of mine, very close friend. Hey Vijay, some recruiters are seen only posting jobs, but never respond when you really apply. So thinking from job seeker's point of view, he will be considered as a scammer. It makes a lot of sense, frankly. Other experience that I have is actually from the renowned organizations. The recruiters are not even interested to provide the feedback after the interview and after a year. Wow, they don't reply at all. I'm contacted for the same position, Why would I be interested in such a company? He's absolutely right. I will see it as a market checking activity, a ghosting kind of approach he's talking about here. Not really a requirement, or the management has no clue if they really want to recruit, but just give an action to recruiter. The recruiter has no clue what to respond to candidates. So exactly, I mean, like there's something missing, right? Like, this is the counterpart of the faulty system. Please, can you add further to this, Taz? You can read the question again, read the point again.
There's a lot, Vijay, thank you. I mean, there's a lot going on in that question, so I'm going to need just a second, and I'm going to take it point by point, if that's okay, so that we can cover it. But there's a lot going on in that question, so let's tackle it. Thank you for the question. So some recruiters are seen only posting jobs but never respond when you really apply. So thinking from the job seeker's point of view, he will be considered a scammer. Okay, there's a big jump from recruiter didn't respond, and this is, I guess, what we're talking about here. There are reasons why sometimes recruiters don't respond, which doesn't always mean they are a scammer. So I would park the scammer sort of conclusion right now. Let's instead try and understand what's going on behind the scenes before we start saying, that's a scammer.
Pointing fingers, yeah.
Right. So other experience is that I actually renowned organizations. So recruiters are not even interested to provide feedback after the interview, and after a year, I'm contacted for the same position. Okay, two things there. So recruiters are not interested in providing feedback. Most of the time, sorry, let me start that again. Recruiters spend a crazy amount of their time trying to obtain feedback from managers. Believe me, I have sat in that seat for years, chasing managers. Can you give me feedback on the candidates? Right? Now, again, let's not point fingers. We're not trying to defer blame from recruiters to hiring managers. It's just that providing accurate feedback, because interviewing is not easy. Providing accurate feedback is not that easy, right? And what you'll get is a lot of managers saying, oh, cultural fit wasn't right, or poor communication skills. These things don't really mean anything, but sometimes it's a gut feel. But how do you explain a gut feel? And how do you give that feedback to someone? We can't hire you because it's a gut feel, right? So giving feedback, first of all, takes real skill. And I'll tell you something. I'll tell you all something for free. I think it's a statistic which is frightening. It's something like 70. It's higher than 75% of managers who are involved in the interviewing process have never had any formal training on how to interview.
Yeah.
And I've been doing interviews for 30 years, and I still get it wrong. Unfortunately, more often than I get it right, but I still get it wrong. And I've probably done 15,000 interviews, right? Interviewing is a skill. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes training, it takes so much. So to be able to, first of all, do the interview and then provide the feedback, I will risk saying most people involved in hiring don't have that capability. That therefore creates a barrier to provide feedback. And the recruiter is the medium, right? The channel by which the feedback is communicated. Now, if the recruiter, on the one hand, is facing the manager saying, please, can you give me feedback? And on the other hand, the candidate is saying, please, can you give me feedback? If the recruiter doesn't provide it, it doesn't mean they don't want to provide it. Right? Very often, they just don't have it. And I've seen this for many, many years. So again, when we talk about fixing this, we have to fix the capability of interviewers, their ability to assess, their ability to provide feedback, and then the recruiters to communicate that. We have to fix just say, recruiter didn't want to give me feedback without understanding that maybe they did, but they don't have it. Okay. Now,
Right.
I'm contacted for the same position a year later. Is it the same position or is it a duplicate position? In other words, that one was hired and now they need one more. Right? So it may not be that it's exactly the same position. It may be that it's just an extra position. Why would I be interested in such a company? Because individual poor practices do not define an organization. If you have a single bad experience in hiring, that doesn't mean the whole organization is ruinous. Right? You had a bad experience. Ask yourself instead, do I want to work for that organization? And was that just a bad experience? And if you still want to work for the organization, please don't let the bad experience stop you from applying. Right? Companies are made of people. People make mistakes. To understand the mistake, we need to have the complete picture. And very often as job seekers, we don't have the whole picture. We don't see what's going on. You can say because we're not being told. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. You're not being told. But remember that. You're not being, and it's not because people are scumbags and scammers and this and that, and they don't want to tell you. Sometimes, again, we go back to what we talked about at the beginning. It's the broken system. And it's going to take time and effort to fix it. Now, back to Vijay's question. If there's a blah, blah, blah. Anyway, well, I would see it as a market checking activity. Recruiters have a lot of sources of information, candidates being the best one, by the way. So to conduct just a fake job posting to get a sense of the market is actually a very ineffective way. Because again, remember what I said at the beginning, 90% of the people that apply for your jobs are not qualified. What exactly are you learning about the market by posting a job ad? That 90% of the people are irrelevant, that you already know that, right? So if we want, as recruiters, if they want to learn about an industry, a market, whatever it is, there are much better ways than posting job ads, okay? Not really a requirement, or the management has no clue if they really want to recruit, but just give an action to the recruiter, then the recruiter has no clue on what to respond. Managers don't really give recruiters action unless there is some sort of value to be derived. Nobody really likes to waste other people's time, right? So it's very rare that managers will say, can you go and do this, even though we've got no reason for you to do it. So again, Vijay, I love the question. You've had some experiences there. You're a bit frustrated, I think. By all means, please keep asking the question, but just pause before you jump to your conclusions. And remember, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, And,
Taz, do you think Taz, that companies don't ghost people? I mean, I've been reading an article that day that surprisingly, and I can share the link with you in this regard, actually, it got my attention here. This guy shared that with me and he told me like, hey, check this out. And it's an article about companies complaining that they are being ghosted by candidates now. Okay, and it's a funny thing now because the article talks about how companies usually ghost candidates, and now it's vice versa. Of course, I think there's not quite 100% a lot of it here happening here in this region, but companies would reach out or headhunt people, and they would agree with them at some point, and then they disappear, not responding to calls, not responding to emails. Like I was ghosted by this candidate. Which divides the opposite now of what usually companies do, which is ghosting people. And frankly, I do agree that the fact that it's definitely not quite effective. Why would I spend that much time ghosting people to get some market analysis or understanding about the market when you have like huge scale of skill sets and different people for different nationalities? But yet I believe those who do it are those who just mentioned they are not trained to really interview or recruit, right? Could that be one of the reasons?
I don't know any company that sets out to ghost people. I don't think in any company's value statements or mission or anything, one of them is not going to ghost people. Again, we've got to remember that we're trying to play a game in a broken system. And right now, what we're experiencing, and because of COVID, was that large volumes of people worldwide were made redundant, right? Very sadly lost their jobs. that has created a strain in the system which was already broken. Now, what happens when you add extra strain and pressure into a broken system? The cracks become even bigger, right? So what COVID has done and what we're experiencing in the world now is something that's been simmering for many years. And anybody who's worked in this industry will tell you, we've seen all of these things before. It's just now we're seeing it on mass scale because we've suddenly twisted the pressure into the system and we've turned it up. Right? It's awful. Don't get me wrong, and I empathize with everybody who's had to deal with this and who is dealing with this. But we've got to be careful we don't start making the wrong conclusions. And then what will happen with the wrong conclusions is we will focus our energies on trying to fix the wrong things. Instead, if we focus our energies on fixing the right things, we will fix the system. We can. We make it. We define it. But if we start, saying, the hiring managers want to ghost me, or now candidates want to ghost me. I mean, no. What we're seeing is candidates, especially those who are highly in demand, are getting approached a lot at the moment by recruiters. Many of them talk about being bombarded, right? Having multiple offers to juggle and to deal with, very much in demand. For these individuals, the pendulum has swung towards their side. Right. And now they don't want to go back and tell companies why they don't want to work for them, because maybe one day they do want to work for them. And imagine you say to Apple, I don't want to work for you, sorry. Well, is there a system somewhere which says, Taz said no to us. If Taz ever applies to us again, we don't consider him. Is this a real concern that people have? Is that what makes them go quiet and say, you know what, I'd rather not say anything. I'm going to take this job over again. Maybe. True. Does that make me a bad person? No. This is the system that's broken.
Yes.
Right? So again, companies ghosting people, people ghosting companies. I wish nobody ghosted anyone. Honestly, like why do we need to? We don't need to, but we're trying to operate in a very broken system with a lot of strain and a lot of pressure being injected into it at the moment.
True.
And we're just seeing the cracks wider and wider and wider. It's fantastic.
Absolutely, Taz. Thank you very much. I have Prabhu here who pointed out something. I have recruiters calling me for a job without even a job description. And then when I share my candidature, I don't get any reply. Now I have stopped sharing my resume to such recruiters. I think these are agencies most likely.
I spent a lot of years working in multinational organizations, and believe me, my teams had to go to the market without job description sometimes. Prabhu, thank you for the question. Let me tell you that recruiter's job is not to write the job description, it's the hiring manager's job. Very often, the hiring manager will promise to get a recruiter a job description, and it will take weeks. And of course, the recruiter cannot sit there waiting for the job description because they have to fill the job. So imagine the meeting that takes place, recruiter sits with hiring manager, what do you need, blah, 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 big conversation goes along, right? Can you get me a job description? Yes, I'll get you the job description. Now, the expectation from the hiring manager is the recruiter goes away and starts working on the job immediately and not wait for the job description, which is where you will see recruiters go to the market without babies. It happens. The interesting statement that you make, Prabhu, is now I have stopped sharing my resume to such recruiters. So the assumption is the recruiter must be at fault here. Okay, I promise you, very often it's not. Right? They don't have the doc. They don't keep it. They don't have like a secret drawer of job descriptions which they just keep for themselves, take home and share just with their friend or their family, and we'll have a big party. Maybe they don't have the job description, right? If they had it, it's highly likely they will share it with you because they want you to make the right decision for yourself, right? And you can do that by reading the job description. So again, be careful of your assumptions. I don't see a job description, therefore the recruiter must be bad. I'd argue that there may be a different explanation.
Yeah. You were being a little bit judgmental here. Like, I think we go personal, right?
Rightly so. These are extreme conditions. When you are looking
Right.
for a job, you've applied for multiple jobs, you're not getting feedback, you're not getting response, you get invited to interview, you never, this is frustrating. And rightly so, people start to think this industry is rubbish. It is. It's broken. It's not rubbish. There are some very beautiful parts to it. It's broken. But let's not think the people are broken. Right? We are working in a very, very difficult situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have here VJ who agrees agrees with Prabhu in this regard. And shall we consider them as scammers or database creators? I think Taz just gave like his opinion of, all right, we can't just be judgmental in this regard. We don't know. We just give it a try again. I mean, it could be Taz.
I will say,
right.
It could be that they are database creators.
It could be,
it
right.
Could be, right?
Right.
Maybe, especially when, yeah, they do exist, because when you are starting off in recruitment and you have nothing, you need candidates, right? So it could be that they are posting to create database, but not all of them are doing that, and we don't know for sure. So just be careful with the assumption, the conclusion that you reach.
Absolutely. What's the process, Rajesh asking here, what is the process recruiters follow to shortlist the candidates? What is the timeline to apply? If we do not apply someday, do we lose chance to even be considered?
The process to shortlist is normally to understand what the job is and then assess the candidate against the job, right? So understanding the job, speak to the hiring manager, read the job description, know what you know by working in the organization, or even as an agency. Agencies have very good relationships with their clients. They know what their clients look for. So understand the job and then understand the candidate. So assess the candidate properly, either by resume or by interview or both. And that's the approach. Yeah. What was the second part to the question?
What is the timeline to apply? What do you think we should apply?
There isn't a fixed one. You know, if you are the right candidate, then sometimes you apply first and you don't get considered. Sometimes you apply last and you don't get considered. Sometimes there isn't a, you know, wait 3 days and then apply. There's no such thing.
Right. So do you think like probably also could be a reason, like when I find a job that's keep being posted and posted and posted. Now, this is my question to you. Should we apply to this job? Or could be like, I'm not, if it's being posted, does that mean like really they couldn't find the right fit, even though my CV looks like it's 9% or 80% matching that job? So what's happening here?
Have you ever posted anything on Facebook to sell or buy?
Have I ever posted something on Facebook?
To sell, yeah. Have you ever posted something on Facebook to sell it?
I always post on Facebook.
To sell stuff?
To what?
To sell stuff? If let's say you've got something that
well, I've never done that before, but I definitely posted before to sell stuff. Yeah, I did that before.
What happens when you sell it? It's not natural that you go back to Facebook and remove your advert, right?
Yeah, not all the time. Like
it's not the first thing you think about.
Right.
Same thing with jobs. Same thing with job ads. They get posted. And then sometimes you just forget that you posted the job and you have to manually go and take it off. And a lot of the systems that exist when it comes to job posting have an automatic repeat function. So unless you as a recruiter manually go in and take the job off, it will keep getting reposted, even if it's being filled.
It will keep, so you're talking about the ATS here that will keep posting the job, even though it's filled?
Sometimes. No, if it's an ATS, typically now with ATS, they will automatically take all the postings down, right? But if you post it directly with a job board or a LinkedIn manually, right, not through your ATS, then often that will just get repeated. And until you remember that you have to go and take the job posting off. It's the same with people, you know, you see on Google, you know, it's an online market. You know, there are so many adverts on there for products which have already been sold. It's just the seller forgets to go in and cancel the advert. It's the same with job postings.
Yeah, this could happen. Okay, we're getting now a lot of questions. Wow, we need to act fast.
Maybe I'm saying all the wrong thing.
No, apparently that many people probably agree with you. Shiraz, that's a long story. I feel LinkedIn is worst platform for me, and also I want to change my field because our field doesn't have any job, but I don't know how nobody is helping me out. If I would be a girl, the world would have come to help me. I've seen girls saying the same thing. But if I was a man, I would be saying the world was coming to help me. Sir, I was in Oman, Muscat, now in Pakistan, Karachi. I just want to ask, I add recruiters. Okay, there's the question. I add recruiters and people linked to organizations, but when I ask them for what? They don't reply, they ignore me. And I even just posted to seek advice on wall, but no responses. Asking for what, Shiraz? You ask them for jobs? As I said, you don't gonna expect everyone to reply back to you. Just like as Saz said, like you're selling something, don't expect anyone to come and buy it. Okay, so what do you ask? You ask to connect. What's the approach that you asked here? I just want to save Taz's time here. What you ask exactly? Ask for a job. Don't expect everyone to just come in if they have it. Like, if they have a job, maybe they don't have a job. Maybe they can't help you. Maybe you're not qualified for that job in the first place, as we discussed in the beginning of the session. You are not qualified for the job. So you need to ask the right questions. And right question is not about, hey, do you have a job? Well, it's just like, hey, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy drugs? Do you want to buy a watch? I don't. I don't have to even reply that no or yes, I want to buy a watch. So it depends on the right questions. Again, build trust, build network, connect with people. Don't ask for jobs. Connect with people, then eventually things will appear. Do you disagree with me, Taz? Do you have something else to add in this regard, on this bit?
No, I was just going to say, Shiraz, it's, again, I can hear the frustration in your question, and I feel for you, brother. Feel free to reach out to me or Haytham directly, and let's take this conversation offline, because it's, again, a lot of things that are packed in your question. But like Haytham's touched on, what are you asking? How are you doing it? Who are you speaking to? These are complicated things which you should do in the right way to increase your chance of getting a response.
Right.
But it's not because you're not a girl. I promise you that. It's not because you're not a girl.
I agree with that. Fuad Masadi, I think he contributed further to his question. I've been recommended from internal managers few times for few positions within MEA, Middle East and Africa. And the hiring managers don't reply even if I fit the requirements 100%. The point, yes, by nationality, or some companies don't want to employ you or to hire you directly, but they offer other consultants company for very bad salary, outsourcing, I guess. After a little bit of time, you hear the hiring manager took someone from the same nationality. Can you get some sort of understanding, Taz, here on what is we're talking about?
I think we're talking about nepotism.
Nepotism, right?
Yeah, and I would be lying if I said, I'd be lying if I said it doesn't happen. It does happen. It happens everywhere in the world. It's not specific to me. But yes, there are examples where people hire people because they're the same nationality, or they have a particular surname, or they look a certain way. We are imperfect creatures, all of us. We all have our biases, right? We're talking about these biases in the conversation of hiring, but actually we all have our biases in every stage of life. In everything we do, we are built with many biases. So I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying we mustn't work towards minimizing the bias by creating its awareness and giving people the tools by which to combat them. I am saying those things. We must do that, but I'm also not saying that it doesn't exist. It does.
Do you think it's quite common in the region?
Quite common. Is it more common than in any other region?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to say with certainty, Haytham, and you're not going to put me in a corner to say something like that.
I definitely don't.
Look, I've seen examples of it here. I've worked in Asia. I've worked in Europe. I've worked in the US. I've seen examples of it there.
Right.
It happens.
Right.
We have our biases, and in this situation, we're talking about a nationality bias. But I've seen men hiring men, women hiring women.
Right.
this color hiring this color, this nationality hiring the same nationality. You know, we tend to gravitate toward what is most similar to us because that is comfortable.
That's true.
You know, we have to work towards minimizing these biases. Yes.
You can scroll through the chat, see people like they are networking together apparently. Okay, so yeah, Prabhu, Taz, I'm not against recruiters. I try to help them by sharing my resume, even though without job description, but the challenge is not replying. Yeah, again, the not replying thing, many factors would play a role here.
Yeah,
of not
and
replying.
I'm saying, Prabhu, you know, there are recruiters who need to be better at what they do. I agree with you. You know, like I said, again, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, we have to work on all of the factors in this broken system, not just one. And, you know, Haitham and I are working with recruiters to make sure that they improve their approaches in the same way we're working with job seekers to ensure that they improve their approaches, and hiring managers and everybody who's involved.
Absolutely. All right, we say Hala Shukra, I think she's in Lebanon. Hi Hala, hello Haitham, hello Taz.
Hi.
Hey there. Muhammad Omar is he's on fire, you know, like he wanted to spit it out. Okay, candidates vs talents, does it make any difference? Okay, candidates vs talent, does it make any difference when the applicant trying to differentiate themselves from common applicants? Or do recruiters have a certain algorithm? I like this now. Recruiters have algorithms due to the high number of applicants to run through applications, and a talent isn't missed in the process. Check it out. Check this question. Check it out, Taz. I loved it.
Brilliant question. So recruiters will be very pleased to hear that they've got algorithms. We all have algorithms, by the way. They're just way more complicated than computing algorithms, but that's another conversation completely. Does it make a difference when the applicant tries to differentiate themselves from common applicants, or do recruiters have, so you mean the systems have algorithms? Yes, they do. Okay, so the systems have programming within them which recognizes certain requirements for certain jobs. Okay, so for example, you've got a sales manager role within a consumer electronics business. The system may be programmed to look for consumer electronics sales and management within your resume, right? That exists, absolutely. And you're right, Mohammed, thank you for the question. It is a way in which to manage high volumes of applications. Why? Because the system will then identify which resumes are the best fit, just from things like keywords, and then prioritize those resumes at the top of the recruiter dashboard, so that when the recruiter goes to assess the candidates, they start at the top and work their way down. You go most relevant to least relevant. Now, that is a reality. We may or may not agree with it, but if you think about where it's come from, this is a necessity because of the volume of applications. It's simply impossible to go through all of them. So we have to get the ones that are most relevant, and now we have the technology to be able to do it. I'll go back to my earlier point. Apply for the jobs that you are most suitable for, most relevant for, and if you can, differentiate, because standing out from the crowd in a crowded marketplace, which is what it is now, is how you get noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So Shiraz has added further, like when we asked him like what kind of questions he asked for jobs, he just said he asked for job advice or for changing field, like otherwise like he asking for advice, okay? And they will not be responsive. For me, if I'm going to show everyone my inbox, it has like probably 20, 30 messages that have not been replied to. There's a reason why now I'm looking for a virtual assistant to help me figure out this inbox, right? Don't expect recruiters to have virtual assistants at the same time. There's a big chance that whoever, even like a recruiter or job seeker or like a hiring manager or colleague, number one, which is one of the complaints, like people could tell me, hey, I've sent you WhatsApp message, why are you not replying? Well, where does it appear? I'm not on WhatsApp all the time. I have a lot of things to do. Why would I reply to every message I receive? Maybe I don't have WhatsApp in first. Maybe probably I don't open WhatsApp maybe once a week, once a month, right? So we have to be aware exactly here, like when we are using this technology. Or when we're using like LinkedIn, when I'm opening my inbox, when am I available in this regard? So it's quite important. I think Taz is, he went offline. All right, no, he's back again, I guess, or network problem here somewhere. I'm not sure, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me, maybe the internet itself. Anyway, but if you can hear me, Taz, please give me a sign because I feel like I'm speaking to myself.
Yeah,
All right.
I can
Yeah,
hear you.
yeah. Okay, cool. Right. So I was saying that Shira's main cases, people maybe they're not online, maybe the way you structure the question, maybe it looks kind of suspicious. It's not the right structure, not opening it the right way. The conversation is taking too long. For this sake, Shiraz, please come back to me. Personal, send a DM, all right, on LinkedIn, and I would love to see whatever messaging you're sending. Then, in this case, probably I can find out a proper solution for you. Okay, my friend. Hala, she has a question. We know that there is a huge number of job seekers, and for job position mainly, as Taz said, there's 9% of them that are not qualified, absolutely, but for the recruiter, they can send the automatic rejection reply for them. And for the 10%, just send the feedback. Well, probably, yeah, that's right. Probably send feedback to whatever 10% was there. Not analysis for the resume of course, but at least some general missing skills or experience or give advice. Yeah.
It's a very good point, Hala. Thank you very much for saying that. You're absolutely right, and this is common practice now within most large organizations, at least, where they have a system which is able to do mass communication. And yes, the 10% that are relevant, especially if they've been interviewed, I would always ensure that my teams gave back the feedback. I mean, my teams would always do that because it's just the way that.
Right.
So fully agree with you, Hala. Thank you for saying that.
Shiara said, I just wanted to apply in this organization who I've connected with for idea advice. Yeah, he's asking for idea, for asking for advice, but not applying to him. As I said, Shiraz, I will do my best to help you here. Fuad again, I heard from few employees from same company about these hiring managers. They are employing people from same background, a similar background. Yeah, they're being specific. Managers are being specific here. Could you please give us input about very high senior positions in Emirates? Which is could you please give us input about very high senior position Emirates, Fly Emirates, I think, which is 6 work days for $100 monthly, and the engineer have more than 8 years experience from Europe. I mean, like, Fuad, are you talking about yourself here? Like, I'm not sure because if that's, I don't know, we can't give.
It's a very specific situation though.
Yeah.
And with that information, Fuad, it's very hard to make a comment.
Right. And Mahfouz says it's really hard for employees to find a job without references, mostly in UAE. How do one individual new in this country create such a network? Would like me to answer or take control of this?
No, it's over to you, man. This is your world.
I love networking. I'm a guy who believes that networking, personal branding nowadays play a big role on presenting yourself in the market. Okay, this is what businesses are doing, so you do it as well. Finding a network. Imagine you start a business. You think how these businesses ever started, right? Everyone would start to establish a network. So to establish a network, me myself, for example, I took my, here it is, my camera holder, my camera stand. Okay, I took the camera as well. I went there. I personally went to the event, to GITEX, and I went to CapSat event, and I started asking people, connecting with them. What do you do? What kind of programs you have? What they do, whatever things you do in that. Okay, I'll collect information. I built rapport. I connected. I spoke to this person. That's in the event, and I have their business card. I have here, like I have Ericsson, Vice President. I have here Linksys, Regional Managing Director, and these are amazing people, and they were open to speak. I mean, like among maybe more than 15 people or 20 people, just one person told me, sorry, but you're not in the right place. One person. I'm not going to make a judgment about everyone there, or like people are really bad and not receptive. Just initiate a true, normal conversation. People are here to network. When you are on LinkedIn and you're trying to network with people and they reject you, well, trust me, it's not your problem. Of course, there are many reasons that probably they're not there, they're not ready, they are like, but no one will tell you like, hey, I don't network on LinkedIn. Well, what the hell are you doing on LinkedIn? It was made for socializing and networking. So yes, it needs some time to put some effort here to speak to people, understand what they do, get better understanding of them, about their jobs, about their career, about their interests. So what we need here, just basic communication skills, basic one, just like how to initiate a conversation, rather than saying hi and wait for a response. Get to the point, like, hi, my name is whoever. I came across your profile. I noticed that you're interested in golf, and being like, I will love communicating with professionals who play golf, and we really know exactly how do you do this at that company. Basic communication skills, something you can find on YouTube, read few articles on link on you Google, just Google that. That's what you need, my friend, to network. That's it. And with LinkedIn, that's so easy. I personally network with 15 a day. Just send them connection requests and start accumulating these people, have conversation with them, and then take them to a call to get more better understanding about what they do. People love talking. People love talking. Reach out to the right people, the right topic, and the same way I met Taz, the same way we went together. How Taz we met again? Seriously, you just commented. You just commented, right?
Yeah.
That's it. We just commented. I commented back again, and that was a really interesting conversation. And Taz was so lovely. He replied back to me, like, "Haytham, you're an idiot. How would you say such a thing about that?" I was like, "Oh my God, no!"
Hey, I
horrible,
didn't do that.
because it's never gonna happen. Because it's never gonna
much
happen.
worse word than idiot.
Right? So people are open to talk. Don't make assumptions that, oh my God, this will be they'll be offended or they'll be defensive. They are. But would the conversation make sense? It's definitely not going to end up with like rejection all the time. Sometimes, like, as I said, some communication skills, Mahfouz. Thank you for pointing this out, because many people are struggling about how do we network, how do we find reference, network with people, meet people, they'll connect you to other people, and so forth. So Noor Kabara, she says, I think that senior and executive positions doesn't get posted on LinkedIn. In fact, these are being filtered at recruitment agency level. I don't have experience with these kind of companies. Maybe some jobs are given to other people, seniors, like very high level kind of positions. I know some agencies may do that. Some companies might do that, prefer like hiring. Again, for me, if I was a manager, I would network. I would know, actually, if you are in that level, manager level, I would know already that there's a manager there who would love to have him or to acquire him at some point, rather than, and we can post that. I can see some posts for they're looking for director. What do you think this regard, Taz? Do you think like this could be possible?
No, thanks for the question. Companies do use agencies sometimes. They don't use agencies sometimes for the more senior level positions.
Well, right?
Yeah, for the more senior level positions, it varies. But the last thing about what you said was very valid there, and that it's, should I call them and promote my skills? Yes. If you're a senior level individual and you've got value to offer an organization, and you've identified why it is that you want to work there, what value you're going to provide, call them up and speak to them directly. When people call us and say, this is the value I'm going to bring, normally we listen.
Absolutely. Again, the value bits, the value game. I really love that one. Like Michael Page, as he continues, like Michael Page, Hayes, etc. I approach on LinkedIn some recruiters, however, I don't seem to gain much consultancy, though I may be suitable candidate for their prospect employer. What is your advice as an itinerary method? Call them directly and promote my skills and abilities. Let me just add something, Taz, here. It's quite common difference between here, India, and UK. Like one of my clients right now, he's in London. I think he returns today. He told me, Haytham, guess what? I had a chance to sit down with 3 recruiters in a matter of a week and have a cup of coffee with them. It was a dream that he get a response from recruiters here in UAE. So again, I think there's something wrong. I would believe there's something wrong. I would believe that white recruiters are being bombarded, or I don't know why they're not bombarded in the UK, for example. Why they're not? Why they are being more responsive than them here? Is it the working conditions probably they are in? Is it the way? This is what opens the middle. This is why people are actually asking all these questions, like why in India I would get a job faster, or in UK I would get like 3 offers a week. Like one of the ladies once told me, like she's getting 3 offers a week. I told her, why don't you select one? Because I don't want to work in London anymore. I want to come back to Dubai. So I was like, 3 offers a week. That's absolutely insane. And recruiters are being so responsive and nice, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Why they're nice there and they're not nice here? And we get back to Noor's point here. Like Michael Page, they would not speak to you or they will not help you much.
So what I would contribute to this discussion, Haytham, is that without any shadow of a doubt, the reasons behind what you just described are complicated. But I would also say with a fair level of confidence that it has very little to do with the nationality of the region.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So to say like the UK recruiters do this better than the UAE recruiters, I think it's to underestimate the complexity of what's going on and to reach the conclusion that it's simply about nationality or location is to do no service, a disservice to the actual situation. So you know, why is this lady getting 3 offers a week? Maybe because she is an expert in cybersecurity.
That's true.
That's true. You know, she's a lab technician for infectious disease. You know, maybe she wasn't getting 3 offers a week 2 years ago.
Yeah, true.
You know, there's so much behind these things that for us to say, well, it must be because the UK recruiters are better than the UAE ones, is that we're making a big jump there.
Noor, could please get back to me directly on LinkedIn. I want to help you in this regard, like call them directly and promote my skills and abilities, because it comes again with a networking bit and we don't want to skip people at some point. Maybe we need to reach out to the right person in this regard. We're not sure exactly what you're up to nowadays. Michael Page, Hayes, recruiters not being responsive, what to do next. Let's just have this conversation, Noor, and see what we can do in this regard, okay? We have 20 messages yet, and it's like already 9:20.
We've already gone over.
Absolutely.
What should we do? What would everyone like us
okay.
to do? Should we continue?
No. Okay. Okay. Noor, Noor, she's Australian. Okay, now I get it. Okay, yeah, Noor. Okay, now I know who's Noor. Okay, now we were in touch. That's right. She has a very valid point here. She has a very valid point in this regard, because she's saying that you've been approaching them, recruiters not being responsive, was the right fit for them. Nor, as I said, I mean, there are definitely always ways when you reach out to recruitment agencies not being responsive. So what to do? Is it over? Well, for me, you don't have to stick yourself always to recruitment agencies. Make sure that you're reaching out to the right people. Again, you're networking with people for the sake of referrals, right? And reaching out to right companies. Don't limit yourself to recruitment agencies only, because yeah, it makes sense now. She's in Australia, and in Australia, you know, recruitment agencies are way supportive in this regard. Actually, I think every job goes through a recruitment agency, like France, for example. France, in most of the time, recruitment agencies, the way they work, I believe. So when it comes to, okay, VJ, I'm gonna ask, I will take this last question actually for VJ, because I don't see any further questions. Please look at the case. We have a story. Recruiters connect candidates with the HR contact of the company. Then HR person coordinates with candidates for the interview process. After interview is done, candidates start following up. No one responds. Same story again. Who's responsible to respond to candidate? What could have happened? I will take this part. We can answer it, and we can answer the second part now. What do you think should have happened? What should make things more effective, efficient in the security guard dance?
The important word in Vijay, thank you for the follow-up. The important word there is who has the responsibility, right? And then you say respond to the candidate. But the responsibility of providing feedback is the interviewers, right? It's not necessarily just the recruiters. So if everybody in the process took their responsibility seriously, we wouldn't have this issue. But if hiring managers understood their responsibility of finish your interview by feedback, there would be no problem with providing feedback. If HR understood you finish your interview by feedback, there'd be no issue. If recruiters understood that they have the responsibility to communicate all of these things, there'd be no issue. We're talking about a broken system, right? And therefore, you know, there is very rarely just one individual who's doing something wrong. You know, these are complex situations, like I've said.
Right.
Who is responsible for providing the candidate the feedback? It's normally the recruiter, right?
Yeah.
Because the recruiter is normally your point of contact. But if they don't, it's very often because they just don't have it,
Right.
rather than they don't want to tell you.
Right.
Now, it could be that they're also disorganized, right? And it's sitting somewhere in an inbox somewhere and they've forgotten about it. It could also be that they're so swamped with work and filling other jobs and they're just not getting time to do it. It could be many, many things. You know, agencies, for example, let me tell you that we look at the model of the agency and the way in which recruiters are compensated in particular, it creates a motivation, it creates a very particular behavior, right? Feedback, providing feedback to candidates, every candidate does not rhyme, is not a natural outcome of that behavior. It doesn't fit with the motivation and the system and the model of the agency. Does that mean the recruiter is flawed or the model they're working under is flawed? In my opinion, the model.
The model.
If you want to create behavior which ensures feedback, you can't have a model which doesn't reward it or value it. Because then why would you do it? If there's no value in it, why would you do it? Now you can say out of the goodness of your heart, out of ethical practice, and I agree with all of these things. Which is why, again, when I talk about why internal teams always be better. 0-0 failure.
Right.
But they're not bad people. They're working in a model where they are, for example, compensated by having their focus elsewhere. Right? If we want to change, if we want to tackle things like this lack of feedback to candidates, we have to look at the model under which people are operating.
Right.
And when you fix that, you will find that the behavior automatically changes. What we're trying to do at the moment is we're trying to change the behavior while remaining in a model that doesn't reward it or value it.
True. Absolutely right.
Continuing. Jump on this.
yeah. Just want to continue Vijay's point here. Continuing with Prabhu's example. In my case, I was contacted through LinkedIn message. A call was received. A brief verbal job description was discussed by the recruiter. Company name was also informed to me. That's quite good. Okay, they trusted you with this. I was okay and sent my CV immediately. Then after a week, recruiter actually reverted back with the job description, but no response for more than a month. I asked a couple of times for an update, no response. What could be the possible reason? I would love to know. What could be the reason?
So many
reasons.
Could be so many. I don't know. I'd be guessing, but we can list them. And you know, but honestly, Vijay, no idea. Could be a rubbish recruiter, could be the job was filled, could be the hiring manager has gone on holiday, and now could be the company has changed their mind about hiring, and now the recruiter is off doing something else, and you know, nobody is getting back to those candidates. So many things that could have happened in that situation.
Yeah.
That with just that information, we would all be guessing as to what really happened.
Right. I want everyone to share in the chat box, try to share your LinkedIn profile. And I want everyone to connect. Okay. And if you're unable to do this, you can just go to the event page where you have actually chose to attend. Go to the event page and check out the attendees out there and try to network with each other. Prabhu, please reach out to me directly if possible. I would love to, because he's the one who has provoked everyone to contribute and answer. Please go ahead. I would love to hear your story as well. And if I can help you in this regard. I think as we reached the end here, like almost an hour and a half, and it was like really informative.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you, everyone, for being open, for sharing that. I know it's quite tough for you to talk about something that you've been struggling with. It's like quite impressive, actually. I'm really happy that you were able to do this. Some of you, like Noor, for example, she's in Australia. Like she's like 7 hours ahead of us, 7-8 hours.
Well, I was going to say, Noor, I think you need to go back to sleep.
Seriously.
Thank you for joining in the middle
Right.
of the
Thank
well,
you,
in the
everyone.
morning,
We'll
early
really
morning.
appreciate it,
Yeah.
guys. By the way, it is not the only and the last event. Of course, we will have more of Taz in the upcoming weeks or so. I'm focusing on my second version of my program. I'm creating version 2. I'm updating my whole coaching program actually, and Taz will definitely going to help me. Give me a hand here with validating. I'm not surprising to you. I wasn't surprised to you. It's like a surprise. Like you're the only one. Everyone here is the only first person to ever know this.
Be my pleasure to help you.
My pleasure, mate. I will appreciate this. Like we rarely communicate, really have a communication with an expert in the market where people could really ask questions and get response and feedback immediately. Taz would be the greatest recruiter you'd ever try to reach out to, apparently here, because even
I always reply.
you always reply. Exactly. That's why you're so excited to. And that's why, by the way, guys, Taz was so excited to do this and give his answer and support and reply and answer your questions, because there are a lot of people also like Taz, but probably you're being unfortunate reaching out to the wrong people or the wrong time, or I don't know, there could be reasons. As I said, Taz, there are a lot of reasons why you're not being responsive at some point. Thank you everyone for joining. I think it's time to say see you later, guys. Thank you very much. And do you have anything to say, Taz? Do you have anything last word?
Just again, thank you.
All right.
So much. It was a brilliant.
Thank you all, guys. I'll be always more than happy to help you in your job search. If you know that I'm a career coach and I help job seekers being able to identify how to find out how to penetrate the job market, to find out ways and how can get better chances in working in the market. So you can reach out to me, connect with me anytime. I'm more than happy to have any kind of discussion. We can book a call and definitely have a conversation later. Until then, thank you all. Thank you, Shiraz. Thank you, everyone. Tafzil, Vijay, and everyone who attended here. Hala and Noor, you are amazing guys. You are amazing, Taz. Maybe next week we can have a cup of coffee again where we met last time. Arabica.
Sounds good.
Or Nero.
Sounds good.
Okay, man.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Have a good night.
See you guys. Thank you very much.
Good night, all. Cheers. Bye-bye.